Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Disney Ranked, a podcast about reviewing Disney movies and putting them on the big ranked board. I'm your host, as always, Lewis, and co-host with me, as always, is Amber. Welcome back to the show.
Hello, thank you.
Yeah, so it's been a little bit since the last episode.
It has. I feel like that's my fault.
It's fine, honestly. we kind of failed the 2 to 3 episodes a month of February, but it's fine. It's fine.
I'm sorry.
We'll do it for March, I believe, in this pod. Anyway, so yeah, welcome back to another episode. In this episode, things are going to be a bit different, as we're hoping it all goes go. We'll be putting this one on YouTube potentially.
Yes, hopefully. I have it recording on another device, so hopefully it goes through. If it does work, I'm going to have to delete this part in the YouTube video, but hopefully it does work.
Yeah, we'll just have to try and see what we can do, yeah. But yeah, so we're changing up the format a little bit. We're going to go for a bit of a shorter episode by like 10-15 minutes. Not too drastic, but we're not going to rush the stuff, but we're going to try not to go off so much. And
yeah, it's like we're going to try not to like wander onto different movies as we usually do.
We're going to try and stick and discuss all that is the movie we're doing today. And we're like 2 minutes in, we haven't even introduced the film. So anyway, in this episode, we're going to be reviewing the 2014 live-action Disney film based off the famous Broadway play Into the Woods, starring, let me pronounce these, Meryl Streep, Anna Kendrick, Emily Blunt, James Corden, Johnny Depp, Chris Pine, Daniel Hudson, Lila Crawford, Mackenzie Mulzer, and many other people who I'm not going to try and pronounce because that would be half the episode.
And of course, Meryl Streep.
I did say that one.
Nope.
Oh, I did. Oh, great start. Anyway, so yeah, let's kind of talk about how we first got introduced to this film. I feel like I should go first on this one, as you've probably got a better story than me.
Not better, but a story.
It's a story compared to mine. So this was one of those movies I kind of always knew existed. I have Sky, so it was kind of one of the movies that was on there. And one time I went to my nan's house or my grandma, and we kind of put it on in the background, but I was like 6 or 7, so I didn't really pay full attention to it. But I remember it being okay. There's only a few scenes actually from this movie that I actually remember. And yeah, it was like late last year, November, December. You told me, like, you gotta watch Into the Woods, it's really good and stuff. And
yeah,
I was like, I wasn't sure, like, I heard the premise and I saw, like, James Corden was in it, an actor I'm not fond of, and we'll talk a bit more about him later. But I thought this would be another Wall-E and this would be something we disagree on, but I was pleasantly surprised. The film was not perfect. It's definitely got some stuff that there's just some small flaws, but we're definitely going to discuss as it goes on. But yeah, that's my boring Into the Woods story. What's your story?
I was intrigued. Okay. So, like I said, I have several family members who work for Walt Disney World and just the company in general. So I'm always aware of what Disney movie is coming out. But like I mentioned in the Beauty and the Beast live action review, when I was younger, I used to be terrified of these kind of movies, just like with like big CGI and big creepy dark scenes or whatever. So I tried to avoid this movie as best as I could. I don't think we didn't end up seeing it in the theaters, but I remember, I think it was like 2016. It was on a streaming site, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. So I watched it, and I swear to God, when I first saw it, there was only 2 scenes I remembered, and that was the scene with Agony, because who can forget that scene, and the scene when the stepmom cuts off the sister's foots. It's literally the only 2 scenes I remembered, and that's why I stayed away from it again for another couple of years. And then what happened was that I knew I started being more aware of the film, but like I never came around to rewatching it. But then recently there was a production of Into the Woods back in here where I live, and I want to audition for it because I really like this production place. It's so I was like, okay, but I want to rewatch it so I can see what part I want to go for, and I did, and man, I loved it. I can't believe I stayed away from this for so long because it was actually a really good movie. I really enjoyed it because this is kind of my type of movie because I love the music, I love the comedy, I love these actors. So yeah, I did the audition and I did get in. I actually got Emily Blunt's character, Baker's wife. So that's what
Yeah.
I've been doing
And
lately.
now, before you all panic, don't worry. It's only the first act, and she does not end up falling off of a thing.
Honestly, I'm disappointed.
Yeah. Now, one more thing before we get on to reviewing this episode. I just need to apologise to the nation. Last episode, we reviewed Hamilton, and I shot the nation when I said that What Did I Miss was the third best Hamilton song, putting it years lower than it should have been. So I now agree. What Did I Miss is the second best Hamilton song.
It took a lot of convincing. It took a lot of convincing.
But anyway, we're 6 minutes in. Let's get in to this movie. Now, this film, I feel like, is really good in the sense that, like, I heard the concept and I was very much on edge about it because I was like, this could go wrong. You've got a lot of kind of fairy tale characters. It's not like this could go bad. And then I see that James Corden's like the star in it, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not gonna like this. But I feel like we've got to talk about James Corden just getting into us because James Corden is an actor, not a big fan of. He just chooses to be in bad stuff. Cats.
Yeah. Here's the thing with James Corden is I never liked him as a movie actor, like as an actor where he plays characters. Point of my reasoning, Cats, but
it's just Cats.
But he does have a late night show which is called The Late Late Show with James Corden, which I actually find kind of funny. It's all scripted, of course, but like I actually really enjoyed it. I love the segments he does. I love Crosswalk Musical when he just takes these actors and he just do a crosswalk musical on the crosswalk with actual traffic. That's funny.
I'm British, so I've never had the joys of watching it, but I've heard about it, and yeah.
So yeah, I thought he did an actually decent job in this movie.
Yeah, I have to give him credit for a guy who's not really a singer. Like he's no Jonathan Groff, but this guy, he did a really good job in this role. He brought great charm and charisma, and he really brought the emotion to the character. Really made me care for a James Corden character. That is a statement I never thought I'd say.
I don't know if you heard that, but let me just like keep in mind my the toilet for some reason has been screwing up, so it's gonna just randomly flush at some.
Oh no, I didn't hear anything.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure because it'll just do that every other 10 minutes, and it's so annoying. We're gonna get it looked at, but no. Get out of the way.
It should be fine. I feel like James Corden he really surprised me in this film more than anyone else, and he really stood out to me when I think of the people in this film.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've got to talk, kind of going back to the whole thing, is we've got to talk about the whole concept, the story, the whole idea of Into the Woods. So how do you feel about the whole storyline? And I know it's based off the Broadway production, but what do you think of the whole?
The story in general, especially for a Broadway show, I think is fantastic. Like, it's so original. It's so, like, because you've seen a bunch of these fairy tales sort of like parodies, you know? Like going to different fairy tales and whatnot. But the way they did this, I thought it was actually very clever, which they tied it in very well, while not being a really parodies per se, but like taking these characters, giving them their story, but also tying them all together to one big knot, you know. And I thought the way they did that, it wasn't a mess. It actually worked really well. They didn't give too much screen time or too less screen time to any character. I think every character got the perfect amount of screen time.
Yeah, I somewhat agree with that. We'll come back to that later.
Okay. So yeah, I actually thought that the way that they played it out, especially with what they were going for, was good. But that's the first act. And then we talk about the second act. Second act is a whole completely different story. And
yeah, I feel like we should split the two because they're very different.
So let me just get this out of the way. Yeah. I think the second act is better than the first act, and unfortunately, my show is only the first act, so I'm really disappointed. But you know.
Oh yeah. Like I do agree the second act's better, but if we're focusing on the first act, it's a really kind of fun story of like you've got James Corden and Emily Blunt. They're going around, they're collecting all these items, and you get some great interactions. And I like how they kind of like play out the stories and
Yeah.
stuff, and you kind of see stuff. You don't see too much of the story, like some stuff is left off screen, but we don't need to see Jack go up and get the stuff in the giant. We all know the story of Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yes.
So it's like I really like the way that they're like kind of told in that sense. They make the stories all come together, and yeah, I think the first act is really well done. I think all the actors play their roles really well. There's some great comedy, some great songs inside of it, and we'll talk all of that stuff later. But yeah, I like the first act. Do you agree?
I do agree. Yeah, I like the first act is what got me into it because like that's the first part of the movie, and
Yeah.
it honestly just took that opening number for me to be like, I think I'm gonna like this.
It's the same thing as Hamilton, except like I heard the first song, I was like, okay, this is catchy. I'm liking this, but then it just gets better as it goes along, and the film just progresses. And I just love how it's done. It's so well made. They don't like it doesn't feel crowded, yet there's such a big cast,
Yes.
which is kind of a great point. So I feel like we should now move on to the second act. And oh my god, wow, the second act.
Well, first
Take
of
it
all,
away.
here's the thing with the second act is even though it's a lot better than the first act in all the right terms, like I think they had better songs, better character motivations, all that. But then again, it's just you're watching this as a movie, and this is an adapted Broadway musical. You can't. It really. And when you think about it, the length time isn't any longer than a regular movie should be. I mean, it's a little over 2 hours. That's a good runtime for a movie, but it just feels like so much longer because you think after the first act, oh, this we're gonna wrap up. Oh, that was a nice movie, but then suddenly, nope, you still got
Yeah,
another hour left.
yeah, I got this. Like I was watching the first bit, and it came to like that final scene. I was looking at there's 50 minutes left. What are they going to do here? Because I'd never seen the Broadway show. I completely agree. It's so weird. The first act it goes by so quick. My
Yeah.
second watching, because I watched this like I think it was like January the 1st or 2nd. Like Jesus, it was a while ago. I watched this one, and it felt such a weird tonal shift. Like the first act, it felt so fast paced and like it was over quickly. Well, the second act it went on and it felt way longer than it should have been.
Yeah.
I don't know if the pacing. I don't know if that was 100% perfect.
The pacing was definitely a big issue in the movie for me.
It's probably the biggest kind of thing that I look at and I was like, oh, I love this movie, but I look at these as two separate films. That's the
Yeah.
problem. Like it's the first film and here's the more dark sequel and the tonal shift. Wow, like
And
you go
And
you
speaking of that, something brought up in the Nostalgia Critic review of this. He didn't make a review, but he made a Disney December of this. He made a good point because when you think about it, like it's annoying for a movie goer to see this as like two separate acts because I think it's about to wrap up. And it also, but then again, it also wouldn't really work as a sequel though, because then who would really come back to see another version of this, you know?
I know it. Like it's just such a hard thing. It's like if they turn Hamilton into a film, except I feel like Hamilton that works a bit better because it doesn't really end like the first act kind of ends on him going with Washington, of course. Like you kind of want to see where it goes next. This wraps up. It's like happily ever after, and you can literally just end the story there,
Exactly.
which your show does.
And you see, though, I actually saw the Broadway version of this on YouTube, the full show, and it actually was really funny because in that version, it's the same thing. It's happy ever after or whatever. But then the narrator just goes end of Act One of Part One or something. The audience is like, "What the? There's another part of this? I thought it was happy ever after."
Yeah, which is very funny. It's like a classic spin on Disney. So I feel like now we should kind of segue over and we're going to kind of talk about each character, their arc and stuff. I feel like we've got to start with the two Bakers, James Corden, Emily Blunt. We talked a bit about James Corden, but we'll talk about them as characters, I feel like now.
Yes.
So what did you think of the Bakers as characters?
Here's the thing with the okay. Well, like I said, I'm playing the baker's wife, and as reading the script and doing the show, I realized more that it's really the baker's wife who's been doing most of the stuff because she got 3 out of 4 of the items, and yet they give all the credit to the baker. But that's personal opinion. Actual opinion is that I think I really like what they did. They gave both of them like equal screen time. None of them got more than the other. They both have defined personalities, which I'm really grateful for. I'm glad that I'm glad that the baker's wife is not just female baker. You know, they actually give them both defined personalities.
Which is like, okay, you cast Emily Blunt, you've got to give her a good character,
exactly.
Right? Like, I completely agree with what you're saying about the bakers. I feel like the chemistry between them two is really good. The arguments don't feel forced. They feel real. The actors really portray the roles. I just think the bakers are really good. They're not my favorite characters inside this one, but yeah, I completely agree. Like, the wife does do a lot of the stuff, and the baker the whole time is like, "You've got to stay behind. You can't come on this mission." He probably wouldn't have done the mission if it wasn't for us. So.
Me and my friends on the show, we actually kind of made like a joke, like, okay, why am I playing the baker's wife and he's playing the baker? Why can't we switch it? Why can't I be the baker and he's just baker's husband?
Yeah, that's what it should be, right?
Exactly. But
the baker's wife.
I admit it.
Well, yeah, you're playing the character.
So I'm biased. I admit it.
So I feel like we've got to talk about the 3 kind of other characters who they don't die and they're kind of the stars. First, Anna Kendrick as Cinderella, and I was impressed. I like Anna Kendrick. She's not my favorite actress, but I was impressed with her performance in her.
Yes, Anna Kendrick. I think okay. So I watched all the Pitch Perfect movies this weekend, and actually saw the 2. I saw the first 2 for the first time at my cousin's house in Orlando last weekend, but I just saw the 3rd one this weekend. And besides the 3rd one, these movies are really, really funny and really good. And Anna Kendrick, man, she can really sing. And that nowhere is that more shown than in Into the Woods, when she has all these high notes, all these different songs. And she's just such a likable and good actress. Not to mention that I forgot what I was going to say, but yeah, I thought she was a very good...
I'll take over. This is not a professional podcast, but many times I've forgotten my words today and just kind of rambled on. This is what we do here at Disney, right? Anyway, so yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying about Anna Kendrick. I feel like I've seen bits of the Pitch Perfect films. I'm not like massive on them, but she is a pretty talented actor, and boy, can she sing! Like, her vocals are really good.
Yes.
Like, I feel like she's potentially the best singer in this.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe.
For sure.
Like, she can really hit the notes, and her character is really well. I like her story arc of how she they actually gave Cinderella a personality, unlike the live action Lily James Cinderella, who doesn't really have one. So it's good that they actually made Cinderella do something.
Good job.
And one of this season's movies is actually the 1951 Cinderella classic. So this will not be the only time we'll talk about Cinderella this season,
yes.
which will be interesting. Then we've got to talk about the Daniel guy as Jack and Lilia as Little Red Riding Hood.
Okay.
So what do you think?
They definitely gave Jack a lot more stuff to do than Little Red Riding Hood. Especially in my play, because in my play, like I said, it's only the first act, so Little Red Riding Hood is only the beginning, and then she's never shown again.
Oh yeah.
She's never shown again. She has her little thing. She has everything with the wolf, and I know things now. And then she's not shown again. She's gone for the rest of the show.
Yeah, but doesn't she dare Jack to go and get the harp?
But right? That's not in the show, because then that leads to the second act.
Oh yeah. So, they cut that.
Yep.
So Little Red Riding Hood, she's a good character.
She's honestly the most forgettable, if you ask me.
I know, yeah. She's a bit of a
But that's definitely
nemesis,
not the actress's fault, because the actress who played her was great. She gave the whole Little Red Riding Hood vibe. She did all the songs. She's really good. I definitely think it was more the writing's part and not giving her more screen time to give her a defined personality. But unlike Jack, the kid who plays Jack, I freaking love him. He was in Les Mis, and he was he's great in both roles, especially in Jack and with Giants in the Sky. He was great.
he's an amazing like child actor. He's probably not a child
Oh,
anymore,
of
but
course not. It's like 7.
this was yeah. But he did amazing in this. He's like a lot of child actors. You can find them very cringy and like not very good. But he does a fantastic job. He brings the charisma, the charm, and you feel this is Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk. And they give him a lot more to do, as we mentioned, which
Yes.
is good because I prefer the person who plays Jack to the girl who does Little Red Riding Hood in this one.
I agree.
And I just want to point out Jack's mother. I did not care when she died. Because the whole time she was just so rude to Jack and so
Well, rude in a sense because she loved him. So
yeah, but like I just couldn't give two horses when she went. Like I'm like, oh, she's dead. Anyway, moving on. Then we're gonna talk about there's one big character we've missed. But before that, we should talk about Rapunzel and her prince.
they're boring. Let's move on.
Yeah, like they had this whole thing where like isn't Rapunzel meant to be James Corden's sister?
That's hardly ever brought up, honestly. I honestly
Yeah,
forgot.
yeah, like they could have done something with that. Like they could have at least met. Like, come on, they're lost siblings. Like Rapunzel and the prince did not need to be in this, apart from oh, we need the hair and
Well, of course, we still needed Rapunzel's prince because how are we gonna miss out on Chris Pine and them in Agony?
yeah, absolutely.
And of
We'll
course,
get
we
to
have
it.
to talk about
Agony.
Chris Pine.
Oh yeah, he's so good.
Oh my god, he was amazing.
He brings like similar to the guy who plays Edward in Enchanted. This guy is just like they're making fun of classic princes, but yet they're modernizing it. And I love how they do him, where he's like he's just supposed to be charming and he's pretty useless, but
I
I
love
really like him.
Yeah, I love how you mentioned Prince Edward from Enchanted because these two are basically the same thing. They're both every prince that you see and just like in live action, and it's just amazing.
It's so fantastically done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really impressed with with his character. Chris Pine is a really good actor as well. Like he's in some really good stuff as well. So
Yes.
good. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot him. How? Um, yeah. So the final character we're going to talk about is Meryl Streep, of course, as the witch.
Great
Or
job. Just amazing job. Her singing, oh my god. And especially, I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, but she was in another musical movie, another Broadway adapted movie called Mamma Mia, when she played the mama. And oh my god, her singing was atrocious. Like she could hardly hold a note. It was atrocious. I could hardly keep on listening
yeah,
to it. And much like the movie, it sucked. But in this, oh my god, has her singing improved.
I really don't like the Mamma Mia films. They're just not for me.
Me neither. Me neither. And I
Like
love musical movies.
me too. Like Hamilton is like one of the best films of all time, and this is amazing. And you know, I love all the Disney films, and that most of them are musicals. But Meryl, wow, she was amazing in this.
Like, oh my god, did her singing improve?
She hits some incredible notes, and she steals every scene she's in. Like she's such a commanding presence, and even her acting is so good. She portrays it. She's not really the villain of sorts, but she's you
She's
know,
not good. She's not bad. She's not
she's just right.
nice.
She's just right.
She's just
She's
right.
just she just want she just wanted her beans back.
And I really like the witch. Like I love the character they gave her. And yes, Meryl Streep on her last song on Last Midnight. That was amazing.
Oh yeah, the whole the visuals and the song as well. It's just that was I feel like the last couple songs, which I feel like you brought us to amazing segue into the song. I feel in this show, the last four songs are the best four.
You think?
Yeah, well, apart from one.
I honestly like more of the song. I know I said that I like the songs better in Act 2, but I probably have more favorites in Act 1.
I know, but I love like Last Midnight is incredible. I really like the song Your Fault is
Yeah.
really catchy.
You're...
No One Is Alone is like a great kind of ending to it, and
oh, there it is. There it goes again.
I heard that one this time. It was fine. Yeah, there are some great songs, but I just love those last couple of songs. They just come back to back, and they really. Maybe because I just prefer the storyline in the second act, but what kind of
Personally,
pinpoint?
my favorite songs are in Act One and Act Two. They're kind of mixed, and I'm really disappointed that some of the songs aren't in Act Two, aren't in Act One, because that means I can only do the ones that are in
Oh,
Act One. But you get it. Anyway, so
yeah.
some of my favorite songs. I love the prologue. The prologue, Let's Go. I freaking love it. I really love Johnny Depp doing "Hello, Little Girl." Nostalgia Critic didn't like that very much, but actually, I thought it was cool.
Well, I've got to agree on Doug with this one. I really didn't like Johnny Depp as he just felt so like really out of place, and he was the most unthreatening thing I've ever
It
seen.
was just funny for me. It was just
I
funny.
didn't I didn't find it funny. I was just like, oh, he's Johnny Depp. Like he's a very controversial actor these days, but like I just I just didn't like the wolf. Like I was really happy when James Corden came in with the sword and just
Yeah,
killed him.
I
I
agree.
was I was
I see
glad
what
to
you're
see.
saying. Another song I liked, "Giants in the Sky," the Jack song. Oh my god, that hits all the right notes.
Yeah, it's a really good song, but I don't think it's as good as some of the later ones. I feel like
I think
we've
it's one
never
of my
actually
favorites.
we've never actually talked about like Interwood songs behind the scenes. This is like a live discussion.
Yes.
Um,
I
yeah,
Okay, of course everyone's favorite is Agony. Agony is just amazing.
it's definitely up there top three. Like
Oh my.
Last Midnight, Your Fault, that they're definitely the top three for me.
Okay, and
I
I have some things to say about It Takes Two. So that's my duet with the baker, and of course I just have to sing it since it's in Act One and I'm in it. And I don't like it. I just don't like it. It's way too long. This is like since I'm doing the junior version. This is one of the only songs that isn't shortened like at all. It's the whole song in the script.
I don't remember this. How does it go?
It's like, "It takes two. I thought one was enough. It's not true." Something like that. I don't even remember.
Oh yeah,
I hate it. I hate it so
it
much.
it's definitely not that. Yeah, I can imagine that. Oh, you don't get to sing any of the good songs. You don't get to sing your big number.
I'm so
But
mad.
you,
And
oh, that's
I
annoying.
love "Stay With Me." That's just so sweet. I love that one.
Yeah, yeah, there's some great ones, and I personally quite like On the Steps of the Palace
On
as
the Steps
well.
of the Palace, I like the song, but I honestly like the atmosphere a bit better. Like, I like how it's just Cinderella on the steps of the palace, and like the whole thing is just like freeze in place.
Yeah, you've seen that a lot in films, and I quite like the whole scene. It was an okay song, but it definitely was not as good as some of the other songs. And
Yeah. Another
we,
one I
we didn't
like,
talk.
of course, love Your Fault. I really wish that was. Honestly, it doesn't even matter to me if Your Fault was in Into the Woods or not, because my character wouldn't be in it. So
Yeah,
I'd probably be too
but
busy being jealous, honestly.
your fault is probably my second favorite song.
That was fun. I
Yeah,
also
it's
love
like
Last Midnight. That's a great one too.
Last Midnight. It's we talked about this one already, but it's such an amazing, just.
Yes, especially Meryl
It's
Streep's
just
performance. That was just great. Oh,
she go.
I love the song "Children Will Listen." That's just great.
Yeah,
And
it's
"No
just
One Is
like
Alone" is cute. It didn't really leave an impact on me. I kind of like prefer "Children Will Listen," and that's my
yeah.
favorite Into the Woods songs. Oh,
Children will listen.
and "Moments in the Woods," the one that Baker's wife sang. I'm so mad that that's not in the show.
Oh my god, it's a big number. Like how whoever's I don't know who's in charge of the play, but who's ever in charge of it, you've made a mistake, dude. Like you could have cut some of Act One, or even like
Let me show my vocal talent
yeah. But you can always show it, and it takes two.
No.
Anyway, so I feel like one thing I have been wanting to talk about with this movie, which is not really to do with the show or your performance, but the visuals in the film.
Yes.
They're they're really good.
Oh my! I really, actually, really love the logo of this movie when it goes into like the Walt Disney sign. I love how the thing that goes over the castle is a moon.
Oh, that's pretty clever because it's the last midnight. Yeah,
I know it's just so
that's
beautiful to look at. I don't know.
yeah. I completely understand that one. As well. I love some of the visuals in this film. I would admit CGI on like the giant isn't amazing to say, but like that's a nitpick. Like the CGI isn't fantastic, but all of the visuals and like the colors and just the amazing kind of thing. If you know what I mean.
Yes, I know. No, I know what you mean. I love how Into the Woods, where you would expect it to be just a dark and gloomy movie like Rise of Skywalker, but it actually wasn't that. I really love what they did because it wasn't just dark. It wasn't just like all gloomy. They had nice colors. They had nice visuals, and it wasn't just a dark and bland setting. You know.
Don't even get me started on Rise of Skywalker. That's a story for another day. 2 hour special incoming. Anyway, so the visuals look amazing. My favorite kind of visual moment is Last Midnight, which is just so stunning.
Yes.
Where she's just throwing beams at everyone is fantastic. But I feel like throughout it, even like the sets and stuff and cinematography, I think are really well done. Like the woods itself, it's creative and it's not boring. Like you would think someone going into woods is gonna be spooky, but they subvert expectations in a good way and kind of, like it's really cool.
Yeah.
I really So I feel like when we talk about the song, I don't think we gave Agony enough respect.
Yeah.
So take it away. Tell us about Agony.
Oh my god. First of all, who knew that Chris Pine could sing?
I didn't.
Who knew that Chris
Oh.
Pine could sing? That's my first thing.
Yeah.
The Agony in general is just an amazing song. It's just hilarious.
So
and oh my god, the part when Chris Pine and the other guy just rip open their shirts. Oh my god. For no reason.
So
they just rip it open, just show their six pack.
Like they're so like the typical Prince, like, ooh, look at me. Oh my god. It's so funny. It's just such a good experience. Like if you hate Into the Woods with a burning passion, if you say it's the worst film of all time, worse than Food Fight or whatever, at least no one can disagree. This movie, the Agony is great. Like it's the same thing with no one can disagree that Wait for It is a great song.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you can't. You just can't.
Do you wanna know what would have made this song better though?
What?
If Jonathan Groff was in it.
And there's your Jonathan Groff reference. There you go, guys.
Yeah, and also other reference time. The dancing's better than Enchanted. Moving on.
Oh God.
I had to throw it in there. It's the ancient Disney rank.
And you had every right to do so.
Yeah. So I feel like now we need to talk a little bit about kind of just like the what else is to talk about?
Well, I think that's it. I think now we have to move on to other.
Yeah, I feel like we need to get to our final thoughts here before we go to like the Rotten Tomatoes and stuff. So, what are your final thoughts on Into the Woods?
I really enjoyed it. This is the kind of movie for me. Honestly, when I first saw it again, I thought, "Oh wow, this is a really long movie." But then I rewatched it, and honestly, I think it makes sense. Like
same thing for me.
Yeah,
I'm glad that you mentioned that because the first time I watched it, it definitely dragged. The first part went by really quick, but the second part it definitely dragged. But I watched it the second time. I had a way better experience. I kind of knew like all the kind of, and I picked up on stuff I didn't pick up on the first time.
Yeah.
I really kind of enjoyed this movie, and I feel like one thing we didn't really talk that much about is the comedy. This film's hilarious.
When it wants to be funny, it can be really funny.
One quote, right, but it's just the most obvious thing. This quote, I'm bringing back the old segment of favorite quote, which kind of died as Disney Ranked evolved. In one scene, James Corden's like, "I don't like that woman." Like, yeah, dumb, mate. You're not supposed to like the witch. Like, I don't know why I found that line funny, but there's so many good one-liners from all of the cats, especially Chris Pine.
Yes, I agree.
The comedy is just top notch in this film. It's not the best comedy we've seen in Disney. Thor Ragnarok destroys it, but anyway, I feel like you were saying your final thoughts, right? So I should.
Yeah, no, I said my final thoughts, so you should probably say your final thoughts.
Well, it's not a perfect movie with a off pacing due to it having 2 acts and not and so a pretty big tonal shift. It's a really good movie with 2 very solid acts, some great songs, memorable lyrics, a fantastic cast too. I really think the cast is the reason this film works, and just some amazing moments and an amazing visual and just a fantastic movie that you need to go and see. I was hesitant, like I heard the concept. I was like, on paper, this doesn't sound like an amazing idea, but you've got to go see this movie.
Yes, I agree. Okay. I'm sorry. I was reading some of these really stupid reviews from Into the Woods.
Okay, we'll get to it. We'll get to it in a second. So you just gave me a perfect segment into the Rotten Tomatoes predictions. Now, in this segment, Amber knows the score because Rotten Tomatoes is her favorite website, and I guessed the Rotten Tomatoes score of the many movies, and I'm always really off.
Yes, so I already knew it before checking it, but you can go ahead and guess.
Of course you knew it. When you type in Rotten Tomatoes, it comes up. My guess is I don't know if this film's 100% high because I feel like some critics are going to be like, the pacing's confusing. It's like, but a lot of people would give it a 6 out of 10. I've got to give it like 75.
A little lower.
A little lower. What is that?
It's a 71.
Oh wow, that's too low. At 75, it's got to be in the 80s, like 80.
Oh, if you think the
86.
critic score is bad, just wait till you hear the audience.
Oh, tell me.
49.
Oh my god, why do audiences hate this? So they just
okay. Let
have
me say
some
this.
thing.
There are 3. I read 3 really stupid reviews that I just.
This is my favorite segment where we've destroyed. Basically, if you didn't see this in the Hamilton review,
all of
that
it
one
is
was
about
really
the
long.
singing. I guess they just didn't realize going in that they're watching a musical.
What is the point of that?
Oh my!
What is the actual point?
I don't know.
Like, there's no purpose in going. Like, I don't know. Like, we're gonna do the poll in a second, but you did the poll, and one of the comments was saying stuff like, "I thought this was gonna be a thriller or something," and it was like you can't judge a movie based off its genre because that makes you a bad critic.
Exactly. You can't even be considered a critic.
Yeah, if you're just saying, I don't like musicals because they sing. What else are they supposed to do in a musical? Like,
honestly,
sit around talking all day. Like a Disney movie called Into the Woods with fairy tales. You expecting it not to have singing? Are you mental?
Exactly.
Anyway, read out these pathetic reviews.
Okay, 3 stupid reviews. Number 1. Okay, a half a star out of 5. Stupid. Why so much singing? Got a few scenes into it and turned it off.
Go watch Hamilton, my dude.
Exactly.
Well, there is nothing but singing, and you will be bawling your eyes out.
This next one is utter bullcrap. It was unwatchable. Idiotic story. A horrible, pointless, air quotes, singing all the time. They didn't shut up for more than half a minute. No. And I said that, and by the way, I said that with saying it as a real person would. There's so many grammar errors in this, and who's the idiot now? And also, they did shut up for more than half a minute. There was a bit of a time when nobody sung.
Yeah, there was some portions, but it's a musical, for God's sake. Watch Hamilton, and then you'll be shocked. I just want to say, I'm 13 years old. These people are probably older than 13, probably in their 20s, 30s, and I'm a better critic than them because I don't just say, they keep singing. They keep singing. Bad movie, or I want to see violence. I want to see slaughter. I was expecting this to be a thriller where James Corden has to, I don't know, gets murdered by a witch in the opening scene, and then Johnny Depp as a wolf attacks a village. Or I don't know. Like, what else were you expecting from this movie?
Exactly.
But anyway, I think it's time. Are we gonna do the poll this time?
Yes, I have it without it breaking out this time.
Yeah, last time that was a disaster.
Yes. So I did a poll, and I also got several comments on it, and which I do want to also mention. So the poll was thoughts on Into the Woods. In a total, I got 62 votes and about 12 likes. The majority was tied. Number one was tied with 33.9%. Number one was tied with great and haven't seen it. Number two was 21%. 21% of people just said it was good. 8.1% of people said it was just and 3.2% of people said it was bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's quite a few people who are wrong there, but tell us some of the comments. There's one comment in particular that infuriates me.
So first one, I love Into the Woods. I love Into the Woods so much. I first saw it on a Disney cruise when I was 9 and absolutely loved it. I based my personality off Little Red Riding Hood for the next 3 years. And I'm like...
She's the most boring character.
I know, but yeah. I replied nicely. I said, yes, I actually love you right now. It is such a great movie.
Then more comments.
Another person said, I love the film, but I'd have to say Agony is what really throws it over the top for me. It's one of my favorite songs.
Okay, well, I feel like we agree on that.
Another person said, Rapunzel's prince trying to be as dramatic as Cinderella's prince is a highlight of the movie. And then,
oh my god!
Before we get into the big one, there's another one that said, it's one of my favorite films. And their icon is literally Jack Into the Woods.
Ooh.
Anyway, so then the stupid person said,
you're a failure of a human being.
Horrible movie I ever seen in my life. I did not know was going to be a musical, and the acting wasn't good. I thought it was going to be a thriller or at least mystery. What a stupid person.
Okay. You are a failure of a human being. Don't go... that was harsh. I take that back. I'm sure you're just a middle-aged man in America or something.
Probably a lot younger, honestly.
Yeah, probably like 12. I like violence. Anyway, so I completely disagree with that review. The acting was the best part of the movie.
Exactly.
James Corden went from an actor who I don't really like because he just chooses bad stuff, but now I really appreciate him, and he's a really good actor. I can't believe this review. How could you be this stupid to look at a Disney film with fairy tale characters and think, oh, this is going to be a thriller and a mystery?
Oh my... Okay. Do you want to know how stupid I am, by the way?
How?
So I've been charging my phone this whole time, and I looked at my phone because I screenshotted the poll before we started this, so I didn't have to go into a different app, which would have canceled the recording. And I thought it was charging, but I looked at my screen and it said that it didn't charge whatsoever, and it was still at like a 20. So I was a bit mad. I was like, what? I thought it was charging. And so I kept on unplugging my device and realized it wasn't charging. I'm like, wait, what's going on? So I checked my settings and I realized, oh, it is charging. I'm looking at a screenshot.
Oh, well, I was off here ranting about a guy who really doesn't know what's wrong with life. Who just fails in life. But anyway, we were supposed to make this under 45 minutes, but we go. So it's Disney news time. We've got a couple things to talk about today, quickly, and then we'll quickly do the big rant board, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we take it away?
Yep.
Okay. So so starting off with the news segment, if you guys have ever heard of the studio called Blue Sky Studio, unfortunately, bad news has occurred to any of those who were weirdly obsessed with the studios. It has shut down. It has closed. It will not be producing another movie.
Are you kidding me? No Ice Age 6?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. We will not hit to that Ice Age 10 mark. I'm sorry.
Anyway, so, yeah. The worst thing whenever a studio shuts down, to be honest, is the people who are losing their jobs. I hope that they'll get another job. somewhere maybe like Disney or Pixar or something, because I'm sure there's a lot of talented artists and animators who put a lot of kind of effort into the movies, and
Yeah.
well, a lot of their movies are mixed with a few really good ones with Peanuts movie, and that's about it. uh, I like the first Ice Age for what it was, and Spies
I didn't like any of the Ice Age movies personally.
and Spies in the Skies was decent, and Rio was okay, and Horton Hears a Who that was acceptable. It's just they made the Peanuts movie though, but Blue Skies, like, it's unrealistic for them to have three animation studios. They didn't really need Blue Skies. They're not.
Yeah,
It's just sad that like this year I believe they're turning like 20 years old or something.
I think so. I'm not really
Because
sure.
Ice Age came out like 2002, so
Yeah.
that's a sad way to celebrate 20 years. But yeah, rip Blue Skies.
Anyway, moving on. Two big Disney trailers have dropped, which is the Cruella trailer as well as the Raya and the Last Dragon trailer.
Okay, I can quickly summarize these two
Yes.
in for Cruella. I personally think it was better than I was expecting. I had really low expectations for this movie. I really couldn't care less about it because it's just we don't need another live action Cruella. But yeah, it's fine. It's gonna be kind of like Disney's like Harley Quinn or like Joker, which I liked Birds of Prey and Joker. So let's see what they do with this one. Raya and the Last Dragon. It took me a little bit. I'm definitely more hyped for this one. They've got great animation. I think Kelly Marie Tran will do a really good job as
Yeah.
Raya, and
Of
it's
course.
looking like a good
And of
movie.
course, we have
But
our
it's
opinions on the actress of Raya as well. We would neither of us like her as Rose in Star Wars, but
yeah, we're gonna get to the sequel trilogy another day. We like that. This episode would go up by like half an hour, and we can't have that. So, um, I Ray and the Last Dragon is looking good. I don't think it'll be anywhere near like Zootopia, Tangled, even like Moana and like Wreck-It Ralph and stuff. But I think it would definitely be better than like Wreck-It Ralph 2, Frozen 2, and like potentially like maybe the original Frozen. But when it comes to like the ranking, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna pay like $30 for this one.
No, I'm not paying $30. If it's $20, I'll consider it. But I'm honestly, if I'm really interested in seeing it, I'll probably just if we're going to a theater, then obviously I'll watch it. But if not,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna find it
that's
on a
the
legal
thing for me
site or
because
something like that. I don't think it's worth it.
like Mandalorian and WandaVision are like two of the biggest pirated shows
Oh my
of all
god.
time. People love to just pirate Disney content. So yeah, I'll probably if I don't see it in cinemas, I'll wait till like June. I think it's going to be free. I still haven't watched Mulan. Not going to, but yeah.
So we better
So
quickly
that's
move on to
the big ranked board.
da, da.
But in case you're wondering why we're not talking about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier trailer or like all the
WandaVision.
Marvel stuff or WandaVision, we're going to be doing the Captain Marvel. Will be talking about Marvel news, and we'll hopefully be doing a separate mini review for WandaVision, which will be like under 20 minutes, so small, just so we can talk about the show. But anyway, time for the big ranked board. We'll quickly do it, and I'm quite interested to see where this one will climb because I've got an idea in my head. I'm sure you do as well. But let's
Yeah.
start from the bottom.
Okay.
Is it better than the Kim Possible remake?
Yes.
A Wrinkle in Time.
Yes.
Lion King 2019.
Yes.
Maleficent 2.
Without doubt.
Maleficent.
Without doubt.
High School Musical.
Absolutely.
Teen Beach.
Yes.
Attack of the Clones.
Absolutely.
Peter Pan.
Yes.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yes.
The Beauty and the Beast remake that
Yes.
got a lot higher than you want. Onward.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think story-wise, I think it's better.
Frozen 2. I'm sorry, Jonathan.
I think I'm gonna have to say yes. Frozen 2 was just a mess.
Yeah. Robin Hood.
I'm gonna say yes. Robin Hood was just good.
The OG Frozen. At least the villain was better.
That's true. Okay. Okay. I'll say yes, but I think that's where we're gonna stop it, depending on what the next movie is.
Wow. I thought you would. I'm the one who's trying to push this really high. Most Wanted.
Mm,
I'm number one. I'm number one.
opinion based, I would say I liked Most Wanted better, but definitely on a critical level, I would say Into the Woods is better story wise and everything.
But the issue is, you told me previously that you think it's better than Enchanted, and Enchanted is above Most Wanted.
Yeah, but like I said, they're both on personal levels, you know. But
Yeah,
critically, I'm going to say it's between Most Wanted and Enchanted.
yeah. It doesn't beat Tangled, no way.
No, and it
So,
doesn't beat Enchanted
um,
either.
so I think I'm really sorry. You may not have had old people dancing, but you just didn't have the amazing that is King Edward and um Amy Adams.
Yeah, I'm
Although
sorry.
the film was, although The Witch in this one was better, Enchanted is a better film. But so yeah, that is this episode of Disney Ranked. Next time we go to a decent, all right superhero movie, Captain Marvel,
Yes.
which
Wait.
then
Next is
after
Captain Marvel or Wally?
well it depends because I feel like we've got a lot of Marvel stuff to talk about, so it makes more sense to do Captain Marvel first.
Yes.
But
Okay.
and plus the 2 year anniversary is coming up early in March,
That
and
is true.
we'll probably not be able to do another episode this month. Depends on.
Yeah. Wait. When is March 8th?
If it's not a Sunday, then it's not happening.
Yeah. It depends what day it is, and maybe we could do it exactly the day it came out. Okay. It
Yeah,
is a Monday. I will definitely not be able to do that.
that. Nope, not
I'm
Monday.
gonna say nope.
Because for me, that's like Monday at 8 o'clock. No, thank you. Um, well, potentially the day before, maybe. I'll have
Yeah,
to wait
I
and
could.
see.
I possibly could do March 7th. It really depends because my cousin's
Yeah.
birthday is that day. I don't know. It depends.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, let's wrap it up. So, if you are seeing this on YouTube, give me a subscriber. Come on, I put a lot of work into this. If you're listening, just share the podcast. Let people know. I've been doing this for like almost a year at this point.
Yep.
We're a few months away from it being a year. It's mental. I've done this for so long. But yeah, we're gonna keep going, and eventually we'll get through season 2. It might be a few years from now. You know, two episodes a month times 20 something. That's like 2 years, but we'll have to wait and see. Hope in the summer we promise we'll be able to do more.
Yeah, hopefully.
Also, check out Ray Rates.
Yep. And
We
I'll actually
at
text
some
you
point,
about that after this episode, but just wrap it up.
yeah. At some point we'll be doing a collaboration again. We're not going to tell you the movie, but we did say in the last episode, so
Yes.
go see the Hamilton review. Anyway, yeah, thank you for listening.